Yeah, great. So we have started the recording. I think we can begin. So namaste, everyone. Good evening. It is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the second day of this 10-day online national certificate course on Indian knowledge systems, pathways, and trajectories. And if there are any new participants who have joined us today, who have registered today, welcome to them. We had a great start to our certificate course yesterday. The inaugural session was delivered by Dr. Rachna Sharma Madam on the significance of Niti Shastra as a framework for good governance and value orientation in the context of Indian knowledge systems. And just to recap and then connect all of you with what our esteemed guest for today, Dr. Deepti ma'am, is going to speak about. In yesterday's lecture, Dr. Rachna ma'am took us through the very basics of Indian knowledge system. What is IKS? Why is IKS significant? What all do we study in IKS? What is the IKS corpus all about? And then she exposed all of us to a lot of frameworks, I think 6 frameworks of Niti Shastra. She gave a lot of examples of Niti Shastra, and in the end, she spoke about Panchatantra and the stories from the Panchatantra and the lessons that we could derive from it, especially from the context of geopolitics, international relations, diplomacy, etc. And I believe that in today's session, we will be taking forward all that we have discussed yesterday. So once again, it is my great pleasure to first welcome the team, the organizing team from Shahid Mangal Pandey Government PG Girls College, Meerut, Professor Lata Kumar ma'am, who's been supporting us throughout the organization of this course. The organizing committee members, Professor Anuja Rani Garg Madam, Professor Bharti Dikshit, Dr. Poonam Bhandari, Professor Geeta Chaudhary, and Srimati Manisha Bhushan, of course, under the able leadership of the patron of this course, Professor Anju Singh, principal of the college, and the chief patron of this course, Professor Amit Bharadwaj, Director, Higher Education, Uttar Pradesh. So thank you to everyone. And today I am extremely delighted, honored. It's my privilege to welcome our esteemed speaker for the day, Dr. Deepti Acharya ma'am. Namaskar madam, आपका स्वागत है NLD प्लेटफॉर्म पर, और आज आप पहली बार NLD प्लेटफॉर्म पर है, इससे हमें बहुत हर्ष है, बहुत खुशी हो रही है. Just to give a very brief introduction to Madam's prolific career in academia and research. Dr. Deepti ma'am is an associate professor in the Department of Political Science, the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda, Gujarat. She has over 2 decades of teaching and research experience in political science and allied areas of political science, and her core area of interest, study, analysis is very interesting. She is into public policy research. She is also engaged in teaching research on public administration, political philosophy, comparative politics, governance, and so much and so more. Most notably, ma'am is the author of the book Water and Public Policy in India, Politics, Rights and Governance. And this is a very acclaimed book that was published in London and New York by Routledge and in the year, and Taylor and Francis groups in the year 2021. And what is noteworthy about Madam's work in the domain of public policy is that she's examined it from a very unique context, from an Indian context, and she's probably the first, not probably, she is definitely the first researcher, academic in India to explore water from a rights and public policy prism. So I will later on be sharing the link of her book and her academia profile in the chat box for the benefit of all our participants. And this book was inspired from her PhD work. Of course, she is also a columnist, a contributor to many publications. She writes regularly on public policies and rights issues for The Wire. You can just go to the website and check her writings. So she writes both on issues of traditional concern as also on issues of contemporary politics. She has been my teacher when I was doing a degree course in political science, and that is why having her today on this platform is extremely special, and it's a matter of honor for me to welcome her on this platform. Also, why Madam's work is important in my opinion, and I say this not because I was her student and I still am her student today, is because scholars like her were dedicated and devoted to IKS at a time when IKS was not popular, when IKS was not in vogue. आज हम सब IKS की चर्चा करते हैं, हमारे पास बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, आज हमारे पास एक इकोसिस्टम है IKS पर काम करने के लिए. बट दीप्ति मैम ने तब IKS का काम उठाया था, उन्होंने किया है 2004-05 से, जहां तक मैं जानती हूँ, जब कोई IKS की बात कर नहीं रहा था. So I think scholars like her are an inspiration, because I believe that at that point in time it was not easy for anyone to pursue IKS, and she's been devoted to IKS since a very, very long time. So with this, I would welcome Deepti ma'am once again on this platform. We are eagerly waiting to learn from her. We are eagerly waiting to understand her perspective on IKS as somebody who's done IKS not recently but since a long time. And today, she's going to speak on a very interesting topic, that is the possibilities and challenges of teaching popular political understandings with the lens of IKS. And I encourage all participants to be with us throughout the session, take advantage of ma'am's presence and learn from her, ask her questions, so that we can immensely benefit in our IKS journey from her wisdom and from her work. So thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome once again. I hope I could do justice to introducing you as your student.
Thank you, Lataji. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you, Nidhi. You are always kind and biased to me, and today also you have proved it. And let me tell all my dear participants today that she has just, because she loves me so much, that you can see that how much she has painted me. But I will try my best. Let's see how much. I don't know whether there is something you can learn from me, but I am sure that there is something to learn from all of you, because Nidhi was telling me that all the participants are very regular, and I'm sure you have attended so many of lectures that your knowledge will be surely, much more than what I'm carrying. So from today's, I will request you that as Nidhi also have requested you, that be there. And not because I'm going to speak on something, but because what I'm going to talk today, to discuss with you all, is having some continuation. If you will miss something in between, then there will be it will be a difficult, and there is a very high chance of a misconception about which we all are fighting when it comes to Indian knowledge. I'm going to share with some, PPTs. Let's see if I will able to. Otherwise, Nidhi is going to help me in doing so. Uh, when we are talking about the today's, discussion, why I have chosen this topic is having some reason, and the main reason is that as being sorry, as being a teacher of political science, I have observed that there are many misconceptions when it comes to Indian knowledge system. I don't know whether I'm able to, share with you or not. I am trying to make it big. Let's see if I will be show my screen.
आपका screen तो visible है मैडम हमें.
But it's not full.
Yeah, it's not full. Can you go to slideshow? आप slideshow पे जा सकते हैं मैम?
It is there. Now, can you see?
No, it's not full screen.
It is to my screen. It is full.
Okay, so you cannot see us, right?
Yeah, I can't see you. So you can share it with the audience and all. Is it possible? I will stop sharing and you can share.
Okay, sure. Give me a minute. I have. Yeah.
So let's continue with our discussion. Today, I am going to talk about the possibilities and challenges of teaching popular political understandings with the lens of Indian knowledge.
मैम आप अपना शेयरिंग स्टॉप करते हैं तो मुझे अलाउ करेगा. हाँ, correct.
Whenever I am talking about, or whenever I am attending any conference or anything, what I have observed that there is lots of understanding about कि ये करना चाहिए, ऐसे करो, ये करो. But when it comes to the classes, there is always a challenge, and as being a teacher, I am always facing this challenge that how I can justify the things in front of the students. And I'm sure that all of us who are, teaching in the UG or PG level must be having this difficulty when it comes to IK. I will not call it as system because I think that yet we are in a process of building the, system. So far, what I believe is that we are having just some knowledge, which is having some tendency or some flavor of Indianness. And when we will start with arranging knowledge, articulating knowledge in the contemporary sense, then only we will able to, have, this as a system. Now, for today's talk, we will talk about the political understandings. For this, I will focus on some 5-6 questions. And when I will try to connect the political understandings, I have chosen Mahabharata, some episode of Mahabharata and some episodes of Ramayana, to understand that how we can not challenge, but how we can provide or how we can decolonize the understanding about the political itself, how it is purely westernized. And today, when we are talking about Indian knowledge, whether I can or we can together can think about that, how it works. So 5 questions are very important, which is given in next slide. And 3 questions are mainly talking about the background. We may feel that why there is background, there is no need to talk about all this, and we can directly go in the arguments or in the interpretation of Ramayana or Mahabharata. But as being a student of policy sciences and political studies, I have always realized that background is very important, because it is like that before entering into the room of knowledge, you should know that why you are entering into, and what is the context. So these three questions, which is purely focusing on political understanding, what it is, what is the significance of it, what do we mean by teaching political understanding, and what a teacher can do, and what are the popular political understanding. uh, Next two questions are talking about that what do we mean when I'm saying that I want to see political understanding through the lens of Indian knowledge. What is the significance? Why there is need? It's fine if we have just popular, understanding, political understanding that is westernized. What's wrong in that? I will try to draw some arguments, some claims here that why it is so important and how the lenses differ from the Western world. What are the possibilities? What are the challenges? If challenges are there, then how possibilities we can create? So, in with this, in the background of these questions, we will enter into today's discussion. I will skip some of the details, not much detail, because I want more question from the audience. If we will go to next slide, we will find it out that when we are looking at the political understanding, why it is very important, irrespective of that, whether you are not affiliated with political, you have nothing to, you are not a teacher of political studies, but still why it is very important. And the reason is that when we are talking about the political understandings, it is covering 2 points. The first is that what one knows about the composition and nature of the society, and at the same time what somebody feels about the surroundings. This further feeling and understanding about knowing is creating overall understanding about the political. What political is. If you feel that India is not a good country, that is your understanding. So obviously, your treatment towards India will not be positive. It is going to be negative. And because of this understanding, your feeling, your knowledge, your knowings about the political will make you, will create or make a sense of interaction with the political realm. That because you can't live without a state, it's unconditional that you are supposed to be in a state. You don't want political to be political, but you are always political when you are taking birth. Now, second is that it is political understanding is highlighting that the political views are not static. They are not universally common. I feel differently about India. I feel differently about the state. I feel differently about the government, and you are feeling differently. And since they are different, it can be constructed, it can be evolved with the multiple influences. And this multiple influences, as being a teacher, you and me are supposed to create. And why? Because the significance of it lies into the peaceful existence. You and me want to live in a peaceful state. How you can have a peaceful state or coexistence? When there is a sense of being, there is sense of identity, and treating self and others. How I should treat myself, others should treat to me, and how I will treat to others. This entire together creates attitudes and behavior of the people. Like हम देखते हैं कि when we are talking about antisocial elements, or terrorism, the terrorists, how what happened, their political understanding is influenced by different factors. Their beliefs is different, and therefore their behavior and attitude towards state or towards you or me is different. And therefore it's very important to understand that what political understanding is, because this political understanding is not leaving you alone. You are always with political, because if you are not political, somebody else is political. And therefore it's very important to understand that what is political and what is the significance of the same. In the second slide, if we will go, we can find it out that when we will look at the teaching, what do we mean? We all know that teaching is make as an activity and process where we are trying to uh, make someone understood what is known, how known was known, and how to know something which is unknown. क्या पहले से पता है, जो पता है वो कैसे पता है, और जो नहीं पता है उसका पता कैसे लगाया जाए. So when I am looking at teaching as an activity, process, or profession, I am not seeing it as collecting references, preparing reading material, but I am always seeing it with originality. I would like to be original. Maybe something is existing, I will read it certainly, but I will not take it as it is without questioning it. So in this sense, when we people are talking about, and when we are looking at the political understandings, it is simply refers to a process where one can learn what is political life, what is political in its surroundings, what is happening in your surroundings, which is pushing you to think that, oh, it's political. Now we may be knowing, not knowing, but it's very common that this person is political and this thing is political. But there is a question, big question, whether you know the political is political rightly. So when we don't know about it, there is always a misconception. And when we are looking at the contemporary education system, teaching political understanding includes knowledge of political system, democracy hai, nahi hai, beliefs and ideologies, liberalism, fascism, Marxism, and all, perceptions about political actors. Opposition में ये खराब है, government में ये अच्छा है, interpretations of political event like Operation Sindoor. Right now, when there is a conflict or war between Iran and Israel, and the role of America, all these things, when we are looking at, is a part of political understanding. And whether you, again I'm repeating, whether you are a student of political science or not, you can't remain untouched by all these events, all these activities, all these processes, because it is dominating indirectly to your life. Second slide, when I will go with, is mainly talking about that why it is essential, and I will go very quickly with this slide. Beneficiary for all the four domains. Individually, you can understand yourself, your relation with others, how you can place yourself in a better way within the society, and how you can negotiate with it. Community, mutual understanding, challenges that are always coming from the society you can tackle well. State can assure stability if there is appropriate political understanding, and certainly political, social and political challenges can be responded. Globally, it is very important. Why? Because it is providing you a viewpoint about the global. What is global? Yesterday, as Nidhi has just mentioned, that you have already discussed about that in Panchatantra stories and all, how globalization was being described. So this even Panchatantra stories are also talking about, or also highlighting, the behavior of the people within the community, and as well as in the I will take the questions in the last, I think. The last is about that the global can create perceptions about the society, state, and as a part of the community. Next slide is very important now, where we are actually entering into, and that is that there are some key concepts when it comes to, and this is right now we have not entered into Indian knowledge. Right now what we are doing is that we are talking about the what is present understanding about the political one, and then we will enter into the Indian knowledge. The challenge before I think a teacher is that before entering into the present, you cannot enter into the Indian knowledge system, because something you have not seen it, you are not the part of that age, that understanding, and therefore The very important is that you should understand the present, and then you should look at the past, that how the past understanding was. The concepts we know, statecraft, how to build the state government, equality, freedom, you are talking about it, rights, duties, justice, we are always arguing about. Popular focus when we people are talking about is, which is talking about the political understanding or creating political understanding, is political order, self and others. Now, this self and others is a very interesting understanding when it comes to popular, political understandings. Here, self means I am a good person. Other means others are always doing injustice with me. I am always correct. Others are always wrong. So this otherization is a problem with the among the students, among the teachers, among the scholars, and I think among all of us. Interest, conflicts, idea of claim is also very, when you can claim that I am having a right to education, I am having right to food. Your claim is very popular. Tolerance is very interesting. And this tolerance is creating arrogance, I think, among these students. Because what tolerance is saying, that when we are teaching democracy, we in the sense, the Western scholars are saying that it is focusing on tolerance. You should tolerate about the indecent people. Now the question is that when I'm saying to my students that you should tolerate, others, that means I'm saying to my student that you are superior than somebody else. They are bad, and you are so great that you are agreeing to tolerate them. Instead of this term or this understanding or this idea or this practice of tolerance, if you will look at Indian knowledge, it is talking about respect, where you are saying that you and me are equal, which is we are knowing Tattvamasi. I am having same thing as you are having, and therefore there is element of respect in Indian knowledge system. Raj Dharma is very popular. We will talk about it in detail. Coexistence and Bandhu. Now, this Bandhu is again, a very interesting understanding about in the philosophy. Bandhu is not a friend. Bandhu is not a brother. Bandhu means when there is a bandhan which is being created because of organic unity. And organic unity is not, homogeneity. You and me are same. It is acceptance that you and me are different, but still we are same, in the sense internal unity is always there between you and me. So there is no disagreement about the difference, but it is acceptance of the difference. It's not diversity, unity in diversity. I think this is very, very political when it comes to unity in diversity. So that means you are forcing externally to accept that you have to accept the unity. But when it comes to Bandhu, there is a humbleness, there is harmony, there is an idea that I am accepting. If I am Aham Brahmasmi, then you are also, Brahma. Why? Because Tattvamasi. You and me are having same, God or Parmeshwar, not God. God is not the Indian, knowledge. Way of life is also being focused in Indian knowledge, which is system of ashram, varna, obedience, disagreement, and we will talk about all this in our, further, slides. Heterogeneity of ideas, and therefore there is always a debate about astik, nastik, pravatti, nivritti. It is not verses. We need to understand this, that it's not verses. And all these things, I know whatever I have said, you are already aware about. But the question is that whether what we are knowing is knowing in the sense of political understanding or not. And here I don't know, I could be wrong. But like when I'm talking about Sanatana, I am always looking at Ram, Krishna, Dharma, Adharma, and all. The issue is that we need to understand that this dharma, adharma, sanatana, or whatever is beyond the spirituality as well. It is carrying spiritual or adhyatma in itself, which is dominating factors of Hindu, knowledge, because it is the foundation. Spirituality and adhyatma is the foundation of everything. So if state is there, it is based on adhyatma, which is dharma. If it is talking about government, king, dharma is dominating over there. Whatever equality, freedom, whatever you are saying, you cannot think about it beyond the dharma, beyond adhyatma, beyond spirituality. So it is not the absence of the presence of political, but there is a need to interpret it in the sense of presence of the spirituality as well, where you should accept that spirituality can present within the domain of the state. It is not separate. Now, next slide, if you will go, is that it is trying. Now, this I have used different colors into it, and there is a purpose of it. About all these, which is in light blue, is about the popular understanding, and this is in light blue because it is known by everybody. I don't think anybody of us who is attending this lecture today is not knowing about this political order, law. Everybody knows about these things. But when it comes to Indian knowledge, I have put only three uh, in blue and rest is in different color. Why? Because we know only about Varna system. We are seeing it. Obedience and disagreement, we have seen it in Indian knowledge. But Raj Dharma, we have not seen it. In Indian democracy, we have not seen the idea of Raj Dharma. Indian constitution is not talking about Raj Dharma. Coexistence and Bandhu, you are not talking about it. In the sense how organic unity was being argued. In present contemporary political systems, Satya is not there. Respect missed, consciousness is not there, purpose of life, like ashramas are not there, varnas you and me are knowing, but in the sense of caste, which is certainly a misconception about the whole idea of the system. Because of this dichotomy between the two, the confusion between the two, what is here in popular understanding and what is there in the Indian knowledge, when you and me are going into the class and when they are seeing their surroundings, what they are seeing conflict, violence, struggle. Then they are seeing corruption, scams, disrespect. They are seeing discriminations, monopoly, control, everything they are seeing, and then they can relate themselves more closer to the Western popular political understanding, which is talking about political order, self, idea of claim, and everything. So the final take of the students is not in favor of Indian knowledge, and from there challenge of yours and mine starts. That the political understanding, which is supposed to be the first priority of the state, because you and me entered into the system of state for the not just for living life, but you all know that life with dignity. Now this, when you and me are entering into it, and when I am not seeing the Indian knowledge, the offerings of Indian knowledge system, and when I'm seeing that only the popular understandings which is proposed by the Western scholars is there. So why student will listen to me if I will say that there is coexistence and bandhu and organic unity? They will say, sorry madam, war is happening between different countries. So when I will say that, see, Varna system, no madam, you are, and you see that the dilemma is that when a student is taking admission and filling the form, the first question is caste, ST, SC, OBC. So when the education system has accepted it, that it's not a Varna system, it's a caste system. And when I'm entering into the class and saying that the logic of Varna was not by birth, but it was with the karma, or with the duties, or with the profession of somebody, the student will reject it. And if this problem, or this difference, this gap will be not understood properly or addressed properly, then I'm sorry, but this is going to be superficial. Whatever efforts you and me are putting to establish Indian knowledge as a system will not work. And we will not able to reach to the place where we want. And after a few years, we will realize that, oh, it was a failed project. So therefore, when it comes to the final take, I think that we should start with reinterpretation. Next slide is talking about it, that uh, when you and me will enter into this a challenge, that how you can fill the gap between the existing realities or existing observation or experiences with the Indian knowledge system, what problem will come. The problem is politics of constructing or deconstructing the understandings. India is not a democracy. In India, there is always a suppression about women, about tribals, about the caste discrimination is very common. This type of politics of construction is the biggest challenge before Indian knowledge system, and it is making politics of understanding very powerful. Like some arguments, some reasons. Sorry, the first is modern state is a Western state idea. We know, so the difference is there. Like when you and me are when Western is talking about equality, they are talking about social, political, or economic equality. But when Indian knowledge is talking about equality, it is talking about tatvamasi. It is saying that there is organic unity. So it's not sameness. There is difference, but still the treatment will be the same. Second reason, very strong reason, is the language. We all know Sanskrit. I am not knowing much, and that is creating scope for misconception and misinterpretation. The second, the next very important reason is that the highest values or higher values that are introduced and advocated as a traditional knowledge of India is seen only within the line of spirituality, unfortunately. So when when Indian understanding is coming, it is said that how you can get Parameshwara, how you can attain moksha, that's it. But here there is a need for reinterpretation, and when you are doing reinterpretation of it, there is a very important need to challenge the misconceptions and myths about the Indian philosophy. It is supposed to be highlighted and challenged with. I am emphasizing on logicality of it. You cannot just say, I'm sorry again, you cannot just say that India was a mother of democracy. You have to have a logical reasoning. Why? Because the students are not seeing what you are saying. Because see, logic is something which is happening through mind. It's a practice of mind. It's a way of thinking. You can't touch rationality. Rationality, you have to think about it. So thinking is a very important process in this. And superficial arguments, I think we should try to avoid. The second very important, I think that I will lose my charge very soon, but no problem. The next slide is talking about that in this situation, what a teacher can do. Reading original text, whether it is representing, challenging the knowledge, Indian knowledge or not. Now, this second point is very important. Explore and interpret the idea of purpose, truth, consciousness, and context. And when in next slides, which is actually the main slides of today's discussion, we will try to, I will try to do, and you have full right to go with disagreement with me on this regard. I will try to find it out, Mahabharata and Ramayana, in the line of purpose, truth, how the truth was being argued, how the consciousness was being observed, practiced, experienced, how the context was being seen, how one thing was right in one context and the same thing was getting wrong when the context is getting changed. When we will accept the significance or strength of reasoning, all these will be very easy for us as a advocate of Indian knowledge system. So let's do some experiments with the Ramayana and Mahabharata. And give me 1 second, because I think that if I will get less power to my laptop, then we will get disconnected. Meanwhile, I will request Nidhi to change the slide.
Yeah. So we'll just give Madam a moment to put on her charger, and once she is back, we will be able to resume from where she has left, talking about the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. What is also interesting in terms of the concepts of political understanding that Madam was just referring to is that if we look at our education system, if we look at our political systems, and yesterday I think Parmeshwar sir and another participant did talk about these aspects, that since our exposure to our own knowledge resources, our own knowledge corpus is so limited, so sometimes we may run the risk of doing this superficial task that Madam was just referring to. And she gave a very pertinent example, because a lot of times when you are talking about democracy and how Bharat was the mother of democracy, this sounds like a very grand standing statement, but you need to look at references, you need to look at it with logic, evidence, and look at why you are making this argument in the context of IKS. So I'm sure that now, since we'll be exploring, as ma'am said, let's experiment, and she has herself read these texts of Itihasa and Purana. So it will be interesting to see what is coming further in terms of our moot concept of how we can shift from a Western lens to an Indic lens in terms of popular political concepts. So should I reshare the screen, ma'am?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, just a moment.
You have pointed a good thing that India is when I was thinking when this was being asked to me as well, that I have to also work on this. But then my argument was that it's better to say that Indian monarch was democratic, instead of trying to find that there was a democracy in monarch. It was better to argue that the correct argument is that monarch was democratic in India. And I think that there are lots of evidence in Mahabharata and Ramayana where it proves that there was a monarchy, but there was a spirit of constitutionalism, and the democratic aspects was visible clearly. But it's a different thing. Now, the common critique, you and me are teachers and we are entering into the classroom, and then the critiques, what very popular critiques we will face is that in both the texts, I will not call it anything else except text, because we are trying to rationalize our argument to find the Indian knowledge. There is both the texts are full of discrimination against women, tribes, and caste. And there are some characters in Ramayana and Mahabharata both which is expressing it, and you can't reject it. It is Ahilya, Sita, Draupadi, Kunti. They are the symbol of suppression, women who are being suppressed. Eklavya and Shabri are representing suppression of tribal communities. And this is not my argument, but the arguments against Ramayana and Mahabharata. Vidur and Karna was victim of caste discrimination. And how can you say that it was a democratic? Illusion is justified. It has been argued Mahabharata and Ramayana are not the real stories and they are not representing any culture of any age. Absence of idealism is there. Kings do always wrong because lives of the kings mentioned in both the texts are the mere example of wrongs. See, what the argument is: Ram and Yudhishthira are not the ideal king. They were bad husbands because they both have lost their kingdoms, and both were remained silent on suffering of their wives. Second is Ram is responsible for Sita's banishment to Valmiki ashram. Yudhishthira lost everything, including wife, by engaging a game which he was sure about a loss. Why this type of argument is coming? Look at the previous slides. What students are taking, the takes of the student is struggle, discrimination. Why? Because their understanding is about the popular Western understanding where self and others, where always interest, where there is disagreement, where there is a need for homogeneity of the ideas, where there is always interest, where you cannot imagine a political life in the absence of claims. In the background of all these political, understandings, which a student is knowing or is experiencing in his or her surroundings, is bringing these arguments, which I have just mentioned in this slide, that they will argue against. And if you will look at, without any context, if you will read all this, you will find it fine. Yes, whatever you are saying is right. But then whether you have done a logical, whether you have studied, or whether you have connected the dots, which I have just emphasized on, logicality is very important. Rational is very important. Reason is very important. And reason means you are connecting the dots. And today, when I'm looking at myself and when I'm accompanying you as being a teacher, I will try to, bring some points in next slide, that how the ideas are reflected in different episodes of Ramayana and Mahabharata, which is in next slides of our today's presentation. One thing which I believe strongly and very strongly is that instead of, like I could have talked about the Shrutis, Vedas, I could have talked about Puranas as well, but I think that to reach to the, commons, okay, it's very important to start with what you are already knowing. So simplifying the complex with the interpretive approach and starting from what is known. So about Ramayana and Mahabharata, I think students are knowing about it. The reason is that if they have not read it, no problem, but serials are there, and that is the source of maybe of their understanding. When we are looking as a teacher, teaching the major focus of Indian, like statecraft and duties of the king. Now in Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana mainly, Ayodhya Kand is a place where there is a conversation between Ram and Bharat. Bharat refused to accept the kingdom and crowning. He said, no, I will not. And he went to jungle and to take Ram back. Ram also refused that, no, I have to keep the promise of the mother and also the father, and order of the father. Now there is a conversation, and the conversation is very beautiful. If you will see it, it is saying that Bharat is asking to Ram, see, I don't know. I am just a sevak. You are the king. I don't know how I will rule. I am taking your paduka that is representing you. But when I will do the action, how should I do the action? What are the duties of the king? And the Ram is replying beautifully that, which is saying that, a king is supposed to be like mouth. How mouth is eating and the essence of food is reaching to each organ. Similarly, the king is supposed to take the taxes, and it should reach to each and every section of the society, and that is the foremost duty of the king. So when we are talking about Ram Rajya, Ram Rajya is, I think that it's not absence of punishment, but it is again punishment with the purpose, with the consciousness, and with the context, which we need to understand, and it will come in next. When uh, again in Ramayana we can see ethics, rational of punishment, war, duties of ruler, what is rights and duties. Two very important episodes are there. One is in Balkand and another is in Kishikindakand. In Balkand, there is Vishwamitra is giving instruction to Ram to kill Tarka. You have to kill the Tarka because Tarka is doing, lots of violence against the, animals of or the living beings of the jungle. Ram is saying, sorry, I will not do that. She is a woman and mother of two sons. I can't do that. Now the Vishwamitra is giving justification of it, and that is giving the rationale of punishment and war. The logic when you can punish, and there is a term called atatai, and this term atatai means the person who is a reason of suffering of others. So if you are punishing that person, there is no question of gender discrimination, there is no feminism, but the consciousness is supposed to be very clear. What you are doing is supposed to be full consciousness, that I am not doing is in the sense of revenge, but I am doing it because it is giving a welfare, or it will create, or it will fulfill the larger benefit of the individuals. The same issue happened in Kishikindakand when Ram is giving a justification of killing Bali. Well, he's saying that why you have killed me, and there was a war between me and Sugriv, and you have cheated me. Behind the tree, you have attacked me. Or you are Maryada Purushottam, and you are doing so. Now Ram is saying that I am not killing you because you have taken, kingdom of Sugriv. I am giving a. I want to give a message to the humanity or to the human beings that you have to respect wife of your younger brother. She is like your daughter. You have not treated well to her. You have disrespected and even imprisoned her. You have tortured her, and this therefore there is a need to punish you. And here the it is not against that, okay, Sugriv will let me help Sugriv, so Sugriv will help me to bring Sita back. The logic was not this. And this is very important when it comes to Indian knowledge, or when we are looking at political understanding, that why something has been done. Like suppose if you will talk about the war which India is arguing at present, that Operation Sindoor and all. Now you need to understand, one argument can be that, oh, India is talking about peaceful and we are in history we were never been attacker. This argument is correct, but look at the reason of the operation. The reason was that, again, if you will look at another angle, don't look at, I think that we should not restrict ourselves in looking at the angle of religion, but look at the angle of humanity. when you are killing somebody's relative, somebody's husband, somebody's son in front of them, it's the highest emotional loss you have done to that person. And therefore, the punishment was being decided. The rational you need to think about. I am not saying that go with superficial, arguments, which even I am not very much, in favor of. How truth and righteousness, when if you will look at, Vibhishana's conversation with Ravan, you should take, you should give Sita back. That is the right way. When, this Vibhishan is going to Ram, Ram is saying, when Ram is looking at him and saying, "Come, Lankesh, welcome, Lankesh." So he got confused. Oh, he misinterpreted me. That Ram misinterpreted me that I want, Lanka. Then he is clarifying, I am not Lankesh. Ravan is Lankesh. My brother is. I am giving support to you, or I am with you because I know that my brother has done some wrong. This can be interpreted. I'm just proposing. You can have different argument about it, which I'm perfectly fine with. This is, which we are saying now, dharma sthapana thayan. This is a new way of dharma, that don't hesitate to go against your dear one if they are not going with righteousness. So if we will go with that, don't you think nepotism will be controlled? You want to give, jobs to your relatives. Why? Because they are there, in relation. Look at Vibhishan. He refused to accept Ravan's, act. He repeatedly said that give her back, and still he is not listening. The take you need to understand in this way, and it's very sad that Vibhishan is now a part of joke. Probes are there, Ghar ka bhedi Lanka thaye and all. But you are not seeing that why Lanka deserved to be, usko dana hi tha. Varna socho, it's not about Sita only. It was about all women. The problem with us is that we are so blind with the emotions that we are not able to do the right thing in our life. We are always in soft corner. Oh, and I was surprised when, some of my students have, very often I used to have discussion with them, and one time one student said that, "Madam, don't you think that Ravan bahut acha tha character ka?" So in lighter mode, I asked him, "You met him? So you know that he was very nice by character." नहीं मैडम, सीता उसके साथ थी, सोचो वो क्या करता. मैंने कहा, you should read Ravan Samhita for that. In Ravan Samhita, there is a mention that Ravan was cursed by one yaksh, that if he will touch any woman, and it's not there in Valmiki Ramayana, it's not there in Tulsi, Ramcharitmanas, but it is in Ravan Samhita, which is mentioning that if he will touch any woman against the will of her, then he will be died immediately. And therefore, he was not able to touch Sita with the intention of being physical with her. Now, the second about the Sundarkand, we all about knowing about the extreme wisdom of Hanuman and how we can interpret it. You can see that you are in a, and this is what we are doing very often in traffic. You are in a hurry. Suddenly, our bike or my car is getting stuck with somebody. Because I was in a hurry and another party was in a hurry. Now what I will do, I will stop and I will start fighting with that person. क्या कर रहे हो? कैसे चला रहे हो? And for that, I have wasted half an hour. Hanuman has not done that. Hanuman, when Sursa was there in front of us, instead of engaging himself in a battle, what he has decided, okay, I will enter into your mouth because it is Brahma has given you this, promise that nobody can cross the sea without, entering into your mouth. So I am entering and then again coming back. This is the wisdom. how you can avoid the maximum, disaster, which I think, and please don't take it as a praise to present government, but I am taking example of present government because present में तो वही है, तो उन्हीं का ले सकते हैं. What the demand from the opposition was that India should take a stand about Iran and Israel, war. India has not said anything to Israel, but to Iran they said, "Bhai, war mat karo." This is what the wisdom, what Hanumana has done in Ramayana. Go do conversation, don't go very far, just give one advice and then come back. It's not always to win the war. The wisdom is to know when the war is essential and when the war will be win for sure. Otherwise, you should not get involved into it. Justice, how Hanumana has done that. When he's talking with Raman, he's saying that please, give back Sita, and then Ram will forgive you. And I am using Ram as Ram only, not Rama. Krishna is just Krishna, not Krishna, because it's not Rama. Rama is Western, or European countries, people are not able to pronounce it, therefore they are calling it. But if we Indians, if we will speak like Krishna and Rama, then I'm very much, conscious about it, that the future generation will think that it was not Ram, it was Rama. It was not Krishna, but it was Krishna, because there is a meaning of word Ram, there is a meaning of word Krishna. So therefore, at least Indians are supposed to be very conscious when they are talking about it. State and sovereignty is also visible when it comes to Ramayana, when Ram is performing Ashwamedh Yagya after, and how Love and Kush are taking the horse. We all know about the story in Uttar Ramayana. King has to have sovereignty. Other king should accept the sovereignty, and which is the recognition which you and me are talking about. Like Afghanistan is constantly supporting India under the governance of Taliban, because they know that if India will give recognition, it will be a huge recognition for the Taliban government. This similarly, the Ashwamedh, which was done by Yudhishthira as well in Mahabharata, and Ram in Ramayana as well. This is to tell the world in the sense, that time community, that see, I am sovereign and you have to accept my sovereignty. So it is not so that only Arthashastra, Chandragupta's Arthashastra, Kautilya's Arthashastra is talking about sovereignty or Janpadas and Amatya and all. This is also, Ramayana is also talking about the sovereignty, but it again needs to interpret it in the another sense. The next part of simplifying the complex with the interpretive approach is Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, if you will see, ethics, morality, wisdom, and justice is seen. I think I will not go with morality, respect, wisdom, but justice I would like to focus on. There is in one parva where Yudhishthira is, in after Lakshagriha, when they are in one, and when Yaksh, is just doing a maya by killing all the four brothers, and then there is a conversation between Yudhishthira and Yaksh. Yaksh is very happy at the end of, because Yudhishthira has replied all the answers. Now Yaksh is saying that I'm very happy with you. I can give life to one of your brother. Give me one name. Yudhishthira is saying that Nakul is supposed to be given the birth. Then Yaksha was surprised that, Nakul, what are you doing? You should ask for Bhima or Arjun, because you will have war in future. What are you doing? Now, Yudhishthira is replying in a good way that I am son of Kunti. I was having one more mother. One son of one mother should live, and Nakul is youngest, and mother of my another son of my another mother. So he should live. Second, he asked, Yaksh is asking, who is going to be your second brother to whom you would like to give a life? He's saying Sahadev is supposed to be. He said, again, you are doing a mistake. You should have Bhim or Arjun bhai, war karoge, inke saath thodi kar paoge. Yudhishthir is saying no. He is youngest. Again, they are younger than Arjun and Arjun and Bhim, and they deserve to see more life. They have seen less life. कम जिए हैं, इसलिए उनको ज्यादा जीने का हक है. See the idea of consciousness of Yudhishthir, how his consciousness has allowed to do justice, not with one individual, but also with a mother who is no more in the earth. और वो जिंदा नहीं है वो, लेकिन फिर भी he is constantly thinking that, and how this is because of the consciousness. Now, Udyog Parva is a very important, episode. Very often people feel that why, Krishna went, he was doing a drama of, but there is a conversation between Draupadi and the, Krishna, where, Draupadi is very upset with Krishna. She is saying that, what are you doing? You have forgiven, Duryodhana. What, you forget what he has done with me? Then Krishna is replying in a wonderful way. He is saying that, see, peace is having highest value. And if peace I can establish at the cost of your insult, I will establish it. Why? Because I know he has done wrong with you, but that is only with one woman, although that's not a simple justification. But if war will happen, I will do injustice with many women because many innocent people are going to get died. Krishna's act of negotiation for the peaceful settlement, unfortunately, we are just knowing about कि वो 5 गांव मांगे थे और वो दुर्योधन ने मना किया. But there was one more condition. And Duryodhan was having highest objection about that condition. And what it was? Krishna said that you have to apologize to Draupadi about your debts. And about this, Krishna refused. Duryodhan refused. I will not do that. See the male ego. It is not in Mahabharata or in Ramayana. It is not, as I said, it is not a pure, text of goody things. It is a combination of good and bad. How bad is being treated at the end. And that is establishment of dharma. So it is not absence of evil, but it is how the evil is being treated. And this is how the state is supposed to think. Ideal state can't assume that there will be no evil. Sab achhe hi honge, aisa nahi ho sakta. There will be evil as well, but how you are treating, with what consciousness, with what purpose you are treating with that person. And therefore, very often when we are talking about juvenile laws, when we are talking about the right to pardon, this is what the consciousness, purpose, and the context. What context was there. Another Bhishma Parva is extremely important. We all know about that, how Krishna has talked about, the discourse of duty. I will not go into it. In this episode, there was one more very interesting thing, that it was not shut up. Krishna could have said to Arjuna, "Faltu bakwas mat karo," or get out. तुम नहीं करोगे तो कोई बात नहीं, मैं तो भीम को लेके लड़ लूंगा. But he was allowing to question. And when in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is saying this is dharma, the conversation was not ended with it. Arjuna asked more and more question about dharma itself. It shows the highest level of respect, highest level of disagreement and disobedience when Arjun is saying, sorry, I will not do the war. Otherwise, he was very obedient brother. जिस भाई ने मतलब दूध सभा में खुद को दे दिया, वो चाहता तो वो कह देता भाई अब यहाँ पे तुझे वॉर करना ही है, तो भाई बड़े भाई का आदेश है तो करना पड़ेगा. बट इंस्टेंट ऑफ गिविंग ऑर्डर, he tried to convince him. We are right now, many institutions are studying this as crisis management and these and that. But I think that this can be, reflected more in political understanding. How? What is the rationale of war? And therefore in Gita we all know, in the beginning, Krishna is saying to Arjun कि तुम्हारे नहीं मारने पे भी ये सब मरने ही वाले. You are just निमित्त मात्र of it. So when, and you know what he was, Arjun is asking wonderful thing कि इतने सारे लोगों को मार के मुझे क्या मिलेगा, रक्त रंजित सिंहासन मैं नहीं लूंगा. And then what the what the argument of Krishna is coming, that see, you don't think that you will not do war and everything will be settled. War तो तब भी होगा. But this war is having a purpose. And see, one thing is very interesting, which is very, mesmerizing to me, is that when war happened in Mahabharata, see, we all know that many attempts was being made by, Shakuni and Duryodhan. Bhim was given poisoned, then Lakshagre, and then Khandavprastha was given. There could be war at that moment. But when war has happened, when Krishna said, no, now war is very essential, when there was a disrespect for a woman, then war has happened. This is the real cause of war. This is the real purpose of war. And this is, your conscience should not allow to that some woman is suffering or is being insulted by somebody and you are saying no, peace. So there is always a logic of peace or war, which is reflected in Vishnu Parva. Now Adi Parva is, very interesting again. I don't know why Vidur is being, and I saw in one library, in our library, where it is, Vidur's excellence is not discussed, but he is being painted as, Dasiputra. But I wonder that a Dasiputra has stopped the of Dhritarashtra. Now in Shanti Padma also, if you will see, there is a description by, Bhishma. I will not go into detail of it. You have done it in a long way. Now, state and sovereignty is also, when we are talking about Ratsu Yagi, which is done by, Yudhishthira, and then 2 times. First, it was when, Shishupal was being killed by, Krishna and so on. Now, in all this, when we are looking, and there are many episodes, every episode you can link with what the conflict was between Kaurav and Pandavas. Most unfortunate is that it is, even in online material, it is said that Mahabharata was a story of war between Kauravas and Pandavas. Satya par Asatya par Satya ki vijay and all. But I think that again there is a need for reinterpretation. And if this reinterpretation will happen, yes, please change, Nidhi, no problem. If this change of reinterpretation will be possible, then the future of political understanding with Indian knowledge will be more easy, and what it will bring to us. Some wonderful things is possible if we will go in that direction, and that is, everything will not be defined and argued as political. Between you and me, right now, when I am speaking and you are listening, and after some time you will speak and I will listen, is not political. So everything cannot be political. This you need to understand. Realizing and experiences political beyond self and others. Because in Ramayana, there is no self. In Mahabharata, there is no self. In the sense how it is being narrated in the political understanding. Self and others, Yudhishthir is different. Duryodhan is saying, no, main self hu. Or Duryodhan was saying, main self hu, and Yudhishthir is others. Ravan is saying, I am self, and other is who? Ram. The issue here is that whether the there is only way to understand self political in the lens of self and others, and if we can interpret the political beyond it, I feel that it may help us. Purpose of state, which is peaceful coincidence, will be a reality. And why? As again I said, that it is not absence of evil. How to treat evil is a major question. So we will surely, if Indian knowledge is being, uh, pointed out with rationality, with connection of dots, with reinterpretation, and I'm not saying that interpret unnecessarily, superficially. Certainly, that will harm more to Indian knowledge than to, than giving benefit to it. Certainly, elaborate the Ram and Rama. I will surely come into it. I got it, got the question of yours. Purpose of conflict, struggle, war will be, reconceptualized in the favor of truth and consciousness. You can't engage in conflict or struggle because of your ego. Like what Trump was saying, I may attack, I may not attack on Iran. What is the logic of the involvement, except this, that you have some benefits, economic benefits, by doing this. So consciousness, what is the level and what is the context and what is the background of consciousness, जिसको कहते हैं ना convenient consciousness. जैसे आप कभी तो बहुत अच्छा करते हैं, कभी आप बहुत खराब करते हैं किसी के साथ, तो दिस इज नॉट द कॉन्शियसनेस, जिसको कहते हैं विवेक. विजडम और विवेक में तो डिफरेंस है. इफ एवरीथिंग विल गो एज पर आवर प्लान टू bring Indian knowledge in the main discourse, not as alternative discourse, but as a main discourse, then I feel that the earth will be a place where you can live. And meaning of life will be very simple. The simple it's supposed to be, it should be. I don't want to, because life with dignity is now justifying to have costly mobiles, everything, but the simplicity is very important. And with this, I would like to end in my last slide, where it's my call for all of us. Let's decolonize our knowledge, decolonize our understanding on political, and let's have earth to live a life which is simple, straight, and not with many complications. And I would like to add one more thing here, that when we are going to simplicity and so on, postmodernism is talking about that you should destructure everything. But when they are arguing for destructuring, they are doing more and more structures. How Vivek Chunamani is responding to it: go with less words, kam shabdon ka prayog kariye. I'm sorry if network is going. So go with less words, and I will go with less words. Thank you so much for having your patience. And let's see, I would like to have your questions, and let's see if I will be able to respond.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a very comprehensive, elevated discourse that you have presented through this 1 hour, and you have taken us into the philosophical depths of not just our knowledge systems, but you have also made a very conscious attempt to link popular political understandings with what Bharatiya Gyan has to offer. And you have rightly said that Indian knowledge is not the alternative. Right now, probably in our curriculum, we are thinking of it as an alternative. कि ठीक है, Western तो पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो चलो इसको as an alternative लेके आते हैं, हमारा कुछ है. But actually, it has to be mainstreamed. And I really loved the way you started explaining what is popular in the mainstream or the Western sense, which is unfortunate, and how we can take our students, ourselves, and people whom we engage with in an academic or a scholarly way to a more Indian understanding through very relevant examples from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, because these are two very popular texts from the IKS corpus. So I can see appreciation for your presentation, and I'm sure that this presentation will encourage us to engage in extensive philosophical inquiry with ourselves and with our peers, because Bharatiya philosophy, Bharatiya darshan is so deep. It is complex, yes, but it is deep, it is highly elevated. So this is probably a way forward for us to engage with it. So I will invite Pale Deepti ji to please unmute herself. Deepti ji, are you there? You have raised your hand. Can you
Yes,
unmute
ma'am.
yourself?
Thank you so much for asking me. And firstly, really, ma'am, I know these words will be like you might have heard 100 times about the sessions you will be taking. So I'm so fortunate. Thank you so much for the session, ma'am. So the question I really wanted to ask was, so as I teach universal human values, and while I was teaching, I asked my students to do an activity. I have given them an assignment, wherein one of the student, the assignment was I asked them to inquire, try to talk about what their grandparents have teach and how was the country then, just like an inquiry kind of thing. So one of my students talked about how her great grandfather was part of Operation Polo, which happened in Hyderabad. So she talked about an incident wherein her great grandfather, because he didn't, I might sound a bit bold, but then this is exactly happened. I just wanted to know an answer from you. So she told me that her grandmother told when this Operation Polo was happening, there were people who were made to stand, and they were asked to, raise voice saying Bharat Mata Ki Jai, right, wherein great, because she was from she belongs to Muslim community. It seems them it is said that they couldn't give this godly figure, and it is some kind of haram for them to talk about this godliness, because for them Allah is the superior one. So he didn't sing this saying that Bharat Mata Ki Jai, because of which he was shot. That was the story she narrated. And not only that, but I have talked to many students, and somewhere in the social media also there is some kind of opinion saying Bharat Mata Ki Jai is against the religious beliefs. So how do we set this thing that it is not religious thing, it is at most patriotism towards our country? How do we deconstruct this? Because you talked about colonialism, how we have to decolonize it. I think this is one of the thing, or one of the reason what colonialism has done to us, because of divide and rule and all those things. But how do we deal with this in a classroom, ma'am? Because when she asked me, I told her, see, we have to grow beyond all these things, because she herself said country comes first. Then I couldn't bring all these things, because for the first time I couldn't process it, because we live in the country. And how do we you know how do we answer this question, ma'am? Like, how do we just answer this? I just wanted to know from you.
Thank
See,
you, Deepti ji, for your question. In the interest of time, I will request the participants to be brief with their questions so that we can take benefit of ma'am's replies for a long time. Yeah.
one thing, maybe it may sound very weird. Don't get engaged in all these type of conversations. And this is my humble request to you. There is a reason about it. What is happening that, just one example, and maybe you will, get agree with me. Somebody is living in a room without a window, and somebody is living in a room which is having lots of windows. So the experience of the two people will be different. And you and me, as being a teacher, we can't push our experience to them. So the person who is having no windows can't tell the person. You have to take that person to that room, that see there is something called window as well. And the person who is with window should enter into the place that without a window. I, as a, you will be surprised that and Nidhi is witness of it. I have never got, involved in all these type of, conversations, that whether Bharat Mata ki jai bologe ya nahi bologe. I think ये एक थोड़ा एक negative point है when it comes to India, that you cannot push anybody to say something. And not only this, Jai Bharat Mata ki Jai, Jai Shri Ram also, and also Allahu Akbar, you cannot push me to say anything. The issue here is that their consciousness is not built because of the knowledge, reading of text, but as you have mentioned correctly, that it is developed through social media. Whether it is happening or not, nobody knows. There is, and therefore it's very, very dangerous for people like you and me, who are very much concerned about our students. They feel that if I am saying that don't read too much of media, don't go with it, they will feel, oh, you are very conservative, you are very traditional, you are not. I'm not on Instagram, you can ask Nidhi. I'm not on Facebook. And if you want to find me and my work, you have to go only to Google Scholar. I am there only. And the reason is that, as I said, that आपको बहुत बटना नहीं है. You, when you are giving assignments to the students, be very clear, very clever, in the sense, don't give anything where they have scope to share negative things. And see, one thing is very alarming, that what she said is not reaching to you only, but it is reaching to the other students as well. औरों ने भी सुना है, वो घर जाएंगे, वो भी कहेंगे, पता है आज वो लड़की के साथ, बेचारी के साथ ऐसा हुआ. अब वो वहां से 4 जगह और जाएंगे. When we are, and therefore I am saying, what a teacher can do. First, we need to start with original. जैसे अगर आपको उसने बोला, you need to immediately check with the news that whether it is fact. And one more thing, we need to tell each and every community, irrespective of that, if one person is doing wrong, it's not representing the entire community. If suppose some Acharya has done something wrong with you, that doesn't mean, if I am doing wrong with you as being with the surname of Acharya, that doesn't mean that every Acharya in this world is a wrong person or a bad person. The best way is, I think, to minimize this type of conversation, accept it for a while. We should not try to correct them immediately. Go action by action, ek ke baad ek, ek ke baad ek. And I'm sure, if there is a myth, it will be damaged, it will be destroyed, it will be disappear. Have trust in Satyamev Jayate. This is, I am extremely believing on it, that say whatever lie in front of me, I will not get affected, because I know if it's a truth, it is going to win. So don't bother about it, that what this community is saying, they are the part of us. I deeply believe on it. वो सब converted ही हैं. They were earlier part of Indian knowledge. और क्या पता हमसे ज़्यादा काम करते हैं. I'm sorry, I can't give.
Yeah, it's understandable, ma'am, but you have given a very thoughtful response to a very complex question. It's not easy. It's not easy to address this question in such a short time. We'll take. Thank you, Deepti ji, for your question. There was a question by Neeraji to elaborate the difference between Ram and Rama, Krishna and Krishna. I mean, I think most of us would have this question.
See, Ram and Krishna are the Sanskrit names. If you will look at Ram in Sanskrit, what we are saying, Ram, we feel that three words are there. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है. It's having four. Ram. It's RAM. And this Ram is which Ram? It's not a name. See, one thing is very important. When we are talking about Ram, Ram is not just a name, but it is a Param Tattva as well. Then Ram is the word which Shiv is chanting. Ramcharitmanas is saying कि Parvati is asking to Shiv, Lord Shiv, that ये क्या तुम बैठ के करते रहते हो, किसका ध्यान करते रहते हो? और ये नीचे जा रहे थे घूमने के लिए और राम सीता को ढूंढ रहे हैं, रो रहे हैं. तो पार्वती ने कहा ये वो राम है जिसको आप पूरे दिन जपते हो, जिसका ध्यान करते हो. So then Shiv is saying, yes, this is that Ram. So if I am saying Rama, he is not that Shiv wale Ram. ये कोई और राम है, रामा है मतलब. क्योंकि वो एक होता है ना, वो जैसे मूवीज के गानों में भी रामा रामा रामा. I'm sorry, maybe if somebody is follower from ISKCON temple, but there is a theory that ISKCON temple, because it wants to and I'm really respecting what they are doing. It's not easy to give space or create a space in West about the Krishna or Radha and all. But they have westernized Krishna. I'm sorry, this again, if it is hurting to sentiments, but Krishna to kale hai, But in ISKCON temples, it is fair. Krishna ki murti jo hai, wo gori hai. Why? Because they want to, I feel so, I could be wrong, so that the Western people who are fair by color, they should feel some belongingness. Racist attitude unme na आए. इसीलिए मुझे लगता है कृष्ण को मुझे तब ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है जब कृष्ण को काले दिखाते हैं. कृष्ण, the word name is Krishna, means who is black but very attractive. It is a Sanskrit word. But when you are talking about Krishna, it is when Krishna is reaching to the Western, cultures, it is becoming Krishna. I have no problem if you are, worshipping, Ram or Krishna. It's certainly a matter of, joy for me. But respect a person as or a figure as a god as it is there. Act of Sri Ram giving order to Lakshman to cut the. What logic of? Can you please? I couldn't read. It's a good question. Let's see. I would like to go with the logic of that person. What it has asked.
I hope sorry, I forget because I have to go back to the chat again and again. Neeraji, I hope your question was answered, and I think there's also some understanding to Rama from a language and etymological perspective. Maybe you could explore that. So, ma'am, next question is by Tusharji. He's asking what logic mentioned in Ramayana on the act of Sri Ram giving order to Lakshman to cut Shurpanakha's nose. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah. I like it. See, one thing is there that, Surpankha, you can see that Surpankha is, what's wrong if Surpankha is going and saying to Ram, ki Ram, I really want to marry you, क्या था वो तुमसा नर नाम मौसम नारी. There is something in चौपाई in रामचरितमानस कि तुम्हारे जैसा कोई नर नहीं है, मेरे जैसी कोई स्त्री नहीं है, तो चलो शादी करते हैं. अब राम ने मना कर दिया, तो ठीक है, चलो मना कर दिया. फिर कहा देखो वो लक्ष्मण है मेरा छोटा भाई, मेरे जैसा ही हैंडसम है, चली जाओ. सूर्पनखा वेंट टू लक्ष्मण कि भाई तू ये कर दो, मेरे से शादी कर लो. उसने मना कर दिया कि भाई मैं तो दास हूं, ये राजा है, तुम उनके, how that has happened. Now, if you will ask me, and when I am looking who is doing that is Ram, then the logic can be, see, two reasons are there. first reason is that she was not really in love with Ram. राम की भक्त नहीं है, राम की प्रेमी नहीं है, you know. बट उसने अगर प्रेमी होती तो लक्ष्मण के पास नहीं जाती. वो कहते नहीं, मुझे तो राम आप ही चाहिए, मैं मर जाऊंगी अगर आप मुझे नहीं मिले. She has not done it. She went first to Ram, physical attraction, then again she went to Lakshman, then again she came back to Ram. Now Ram is saying, see, you are a nice lady, but I can't marry because I promised to this lady who is my wife Sita that I will not, marry. ये मेरा वादा था, क्योंकि हमारे उसमें परंपरा में, रघु वंश में 2-3 पत्नियां हो सकती थी, बट मैंने इसको प्रॉमिस किया है कि मैं एक ही शादी करूंगा, and which Ram has kept. Now what Shurpankha is saying, then let me kill her. I will kill Sita, that she will not be lived, so you are now alone, so you can marry me. And then she is trying to kill, and then Ram is saying not to kill women. Again, the same logic. Surpankha was not Atatai like how the Tadaka was, but she was trying to kill under the ego of to kill Sita, and there was an ego in her. कि बस इसको, and the nose is always a symbol of ego. तो ये तो अलग अलग interpretations है. जैसे if you will, जैसे हम कहते हैं ना, इसकी तो नाक बहुत ऊंची है, that ego बहुत ज्यादा है इसमें. There are many texts that are trying to interpret Ramcharitmanas, and it is saying कि शूरपंखा की नाक रावण की इज्जत थी इसीलिए उसको काटा. ये all this is interpretation. बट राम को उस वक्त तो नहीं पता था, क्योंकि वो मनुष्य रूप में है अभी, तो वो उनको नहीं पता है कि ये रावण आके ले जाएगा या वॉट एवर. बट फॉर पीपल लाइक यू एंड मी, एज अगेन आई एम सेइंग कॉन्शियसनेस, that when your any organ is getting damaged, if you will do a treatment, proper treatment, तो वो ठीक हो सकता है. So when it is being done like that, the purpose was that she was not the reason was not love with Ram, but that was, and even physical attraction is not a bad thing, but Ram, you look at the yoga of it. A woman cannot be of a character ki kabhi yahan kabhi wahan is tarah se. Or again and again Ram was repeatedly saying that in this age the meaning of dharma will be different. Even Krishna is saying the meaning of dharma is different. So, and right now, if you will look at this yuga, which is, if you will look at Indian understanding or interpretation, it is Kal Yuga. So Kal Yuga का धर्म अलग है. अगर अभी आप कर्ण बन गए कि बस मैं सुबह उठूंगी, सूर्य नारायण को अर्घ दूंगी और जो भी आया जिसने जो मांगा मैंने दे दिया, तो लोग तो मेरा घर भी ले लेंगे, मेरा मोबाइल भी ले लेंगे, मैं कर्ण नहीं बन सकती. The age is different, and therefore I said that the context is very important to understand.
Thank you so much. Madam Pooja ji is asking for your email address. So if you permit.
Yeah, surely. Why not? There is one more question, I think.
Chandra Mohan ji, I request you to unmute yourself, but be very brief because we have to close the session.
Pranams, madam. Pranams, madam, and pranams, dear organizers. Thank you very much, madam, for the highest levels of the real sense of political understandings. Today, unfortunately, in classrooms, actually, political science means actually all constitutions and articles, whatnot, everything, without touching anything, essence behind these things, madam. Thank you very much, madam. I'm a history faculty, madam. And actually, as you are saying, first and foremost, these all Western opinions and this political science should be freed from these Western goggles, madam. Western perspectives, because when they are saying all these things, even before that, just I'm submitting, madam. Beyond that, nothing, no questions, madam. Because I enjoyed your lecture like anything. Because history and political science are sister concern subjects, and sister concern subject, madam. And what actually you said, madam, that's very interesting. Actually, first, if people are changed, of course, automatically society will change. people are changed. Changed means for that not only citizens and what I want to say, the kings and the political system is to be changed. And for that, whatever the parameters you have said, they are very, very, very important, madam. Of course, that's one thing, madam. And just actually, you have heard, of course, all these, madam, because with your experience, whatnot, everything. And when India has the democratic forms of governments, monarchies, even individual republics, collective republics in Shodasa Mahajanapada times by 6th century BC, and we are interpreting them as a republic concept from 1873 American Revolution and later French Revolution, whatnot, everything. Where is 6th century BC? Where is 1873 AD or CE, madam? Like that, first in this history is decolonized and it this Western element is removed, then only for this younger generations, madam. With my 2 decades of teaching experience for undergraduate students and as well as for competitive examination aspirants, madam, I notice in this generation that they want the truth, madam. As you have said 2-3 times, if we can just convince them with logically and with reason, of course, they are ready to convince, madam. That is to be done by all teachers and whatnot, everything, madam. Thank you very much for as a wonderful, actually, because there's an essence, madam. And in our ancient India also, we say, only I say, madam, actually, according to our civil services coaching, I'm a faculty member for UPSC civil services examination, madam. There I talk about only 2 things, madam. Number 1, Ramaraja, what is Ramaraja? And not in this depth, madam, because IKS is different actually.
Yeah.
And what is Dharmaraja? This Ramaraja and Dharmaraja, one is from Ramayana and other is Mahabharata. This is the essence of this country. And today, by taking these things, by adding so many English names, if they are writing political thought, political science, whatnot, our people importing our ideology in other language, and that is being taught in the classrooms, madam. It's my perception, madam. This is what actually.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chandra Mohan sir, for your submission. And you have correctly pointed out that ma'am has, through her session, helped us explore the layers. I think she has
Yes,
helped
madam.
us to peel the layers of IKS. And now it is our responsibility to kind of
Yes, ma'am.
engage with it in a much detailed way by engaging with original text, by thinking about
Yes.
context, कॉन्शियसनेस एंड पर्पस. मेरे लिए तो आज के सेशन का सबसे महत्व का टेक अवे ये 3 शब्द हैं, कॉन्टेक्स्ट, कॉन्शियसनेस, पर्पस. अगर चौथा शब्द मैं शायद भूल रही हूँ. थैंक यू.
Because
It's
it
good.
is also always contextual, madam, subject.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
also
so
one should
much.
not take judgments like that, madam is told. Like that. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dhanyavad, madam. Thank you, organizers. Nidhi ji.
Thank you.
Nidhi, madam. Thank you.
I would invite my colleague, my esteemed colleague, Dr. Vikas Rajpopat. If he's there. Vikas, we would like to hear from you quickly if you are there.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Nidhi. And good evening to all the participants. Ma'am, your session was so enriching. And when the session started, I personally messaged Nidhi that Deepti ma'am is so enriching and we should request ma'am to join us for the FDP. So,
You need to ask me how I have pulled ma'am into this session. I will tell you.
And this is truly because, certainly because of my love to Indian knowledge. And the another reason is my Nidhi, because she is so dear to me, I can't say no to her. That's the thing. I love her so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really an honor. Thank you, Vikas. We will keep seeing, we want to hear more from Vikas in the coming sessions because he himself is an enlightened individual. And just today in the afternoon, he was on DD Girnar giving an interview about his experience in cinema, academia, and life, which is so important. So great job, Vikas. Very nice. I would now like to move towards the closure of the session by inviting Dr. Ramchandra Singh sir to deliver the vote of thanks. Sir, if you're there with us, I request you to come forward and deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. धन्यवाद निधि मैम, आपने सेशन का बहुत ही सुचारू रूप से संचालन किया और बहुत ही गंभीरता पूर्वक हम सब लोगों को इस सेशन से अवगत कराया। धन्यवाद दीप्ति मैम, आपने भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा की उन तमाम चुनौतियों को, उन तमाम बातों को, परंपराओं को जिनसे लोग अनभिज्ञ हैं, या जहां हम बहुत सारे वेस्टर्न उदाहरण पेश करके उनके द्वारा हम इन राजनीतिक व्यवस्थाओं और परंपराओं को समझते हैं, उन सब चुनौतियों को दूर किया है। सबकी समझ में ये आ गया है वास्तव में बहुत गंभीरता से और गहराई से कि हमारे पास, हमारे सिस्टम में, हमारी ज्ञान परंपरा में इतना सब कुछ है कि हमें इधर उधर जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, बस उनको समझने की जरूरत है। और हम केवल सोशल मीडिया और जो व्हाट्सएप लाइब्रेरीज हैं उनके बजाय जो टेक्स्ट हैं उनको पढ़ें और गंभीरता पूर्वक उनकी तरफ जाएं, तो निश्चित रूप से हमारी जो ज्ञान परंपरा है वो बहुत ही समृद्ध है दुनिया में। और आज के संदर्भ में जो वर्तमान में पूरी दुनिया में ये संघर्ष चल रहा है, उस संघर्ष को लेकर भी हम लोग, या हमारी पॉलिसी और हमारी जो परंपरा की नीतियां हैं वो कितनी प्रासंगिक हैं, इसको भी बेहतर तरीके से आपने हमारे सामने रखा। मैं समझता हूँ हमारे सभी साथी जो भी जुड़े हुए हैं इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे बहुत अच्छे से सभी ने अप्रिशिएट किया और सभी ने अच्छे से समझा। आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे साथी प्रोफेसर लता कुमार जिन्होंने इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर मुझे जोड़ा और इस कार्यक्रम को हमारे कॉलेज के साथ शुरू किया है, उनका भी बहुत बहुत आभार। सभी साथी जो इस पर इतना समय देकर जुड़े हुए हैं और इन गंभीर बातों को समझ रहे हैं लगातार, और प्रश्नों के द्वारा अपनी तमाम जिज्ञासाओं को जो वास्तव में हमें समझनी भी चाहिए और दूर भी करनी चाहिए, उनको कर रहे हैं, उन सभी का भी बहुत बहुत आभार। थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू सो मच फॉर हैविंग मी। आप लोगों ने